Greetings and ho ho ho. See, I didn't confuse it with the Wizard of Oz that time.
No, I'm impressed.
And a couple of la-di-das.
Now he confused it with the Wizard of Oz.
She likes to pick on me, and she is
She is Rona Gofstein, and he is
Dr. Kevin.
and this is
Dragons
Unicorns.
and other creative creatures.
Yes, other creative creatures during the holiday season.
During the holiday season.
Oh God, Snoopy!
Oh, look what Snoopy did to the Christmas lights.
It reminds me of that song, "The 12 Pains of Christmas."
Oh.
You ever heard that song?
There we go. So I'm hoping
One
that
blinks, they all blink.
I'm hoping that you can. There we go. You
Oh,
you gotta see Snoopy. He's a little bedraggled.
Well, between the lights and all the Woodstocks, it's,
You know. Well, for everybody I know that ever went to Woodstock was a little bedraggled for decades afterwards. I mean, come on, let's face it.
That's the rumor.
There were some pretty heavy drugs there. Not that I would know. Woodstock was before my time.
Before mine too.
So, anyways,
I love Snoopy at Christmas time. That's one of the things I always watch. I always watch the Halloween one, I watch the Thanksgiving one, and I watch the Christmas special.
absolutely. So today, this is going to count as our first show that we're taping since my wedding.
Yes.
Even though we're taping out of order, so we've already taped 2 shows that will go on after this one.
Right, but this will air first. So
This will air first. And I'm probably a little early for the Christmas season for this show,
but not for retail.
but not for retail. You know that. But anyways, so we're going to talk a little bit about the creative process of the wedding.
Yeah.
We have a guest on today that's going to share some stories and give us some insights about wedding and wedding management and planning. And I chose this Snoopy because of the fires that I was putting out for 10 days before my own wedding. And we're going to find out from today's guest, who is a wedding planner, we'll introduce her in a couple of minutes, that we're going to find out
What happens
maybe
when
I
she
would've-
gets tangled up in the tinsel?
Yeah, and what might I have avoided had she been my wedding planner? Like, what was avoidable, and what was one of those things where you just have to say it's a great story to tell. So
The truth is, at most events, when things go wrong or they're not quite what you thought they would be or look like what you thought it was going to be, it's only you and the people most closely connected to the event who know, because I was a guest at your wedding and I didn't see any problems. Looked smooth as silk to me.
yeah. So did you like the wedding?
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. You know, and it was interesting. It was a perfect day weather-wise, bracketed by unperfect day weather-wise. It was just like, nope, today's the wedding. Beautiful weather. It's been ordered. Here it is. Ah. Ooh. Yes. Fridays was Sundays was
Oh, yeah. Sundays was scary. Well, you know, and the funny thing is that because we did the wedding so late into the year, 'cause we did an outdoor wedding October 28th
Right.
in New England. But, you know, there was a story behind that, which is that Jeff's sister lives in France.
Right.
And that's her holiday where she has the week off.
So it worked for her to be able to be there.
So for her and the 2 kids to be there, we actually, Jeff, because his sister was his best person,
Yes. Attendant.
matron of honor.
There you go.
It would still be a matron of honor.
It would be.
Yeah. So my maid of honor was my sister.
Yep.
His matron of honor was his sister.
Yes.
Which we had both chosen individually of each other.
Yep. It just happened to be that they were sisters.
The sisters. We chose our sisters. And so, anyways, but we had a lot of adventure going on. I'm going to introduce I'm going to introduce our guest now. We're going to bring her in a little early so she can enjoy and highlight and participate in the conversation of some of the stores. I would like to introduce, and I'm going, so you've got to know how crazy this is, okay?
Speaking of craziness
Crazy.
and things not working out quite the way you thought.
Okay, so crazy is that on Saturday morning, we tape on Monday. On Saturday morning, I wake up and go, you know, one of our guests backed out. We were kicking ideas around, and I said, well,
Yep.
you know, this is going to be the first set of shows we shoot after the wedding. We should go over the wedding, and weddings are very creative.
Very.
And then I thought, you know, it would be really nice if we had a wedding planner. So I have to tell this little tiny bit of the story, and then we
Okay.
will introduce our thing, which is, so I am coming to learn to really hate Google,
That's problematic.
okay? Because I go in, and I'm really starting to think I'm gonna start going to like Firefox, or I'm gonna start looking out for other ones. Because
Bing.
Bing, whatever. And because I go on Google, and I'm pretty good at researching. So I put wedding planners, Nashua, New Hampshire. Now I know we're shooting in Hudson, but I figured Nashua is the big
Bigger.
city.
Yep.
Stuff. The first 7 or 8 things that are coming up are all ads, covering almost the whole first page.
Oh, wow.
And they're all for apps that if you go in there, they'll give you the list, but you have to join the app. And then you have to be on their mailing list. And I'm like, okay, well, I've already had my wedding. I don't want to do this.
No.
I just want to find it. And so I had to enter it 2 or 3 times. I had to go into the second page. Then I had to go here. I finally found one. I went to the person's Facebook page. That was local. I called, and some woman answered and said, you must have the wrong number. And then I looked, and I was like, okay, well, nothing's been posted on this. It doesn't look like she's done a wedding for like 5 years.
No, well,
so I
that's
think that one went out of business. And so I keep pushing around, and I go, well, maybe we're just going to do the show without my idea of having a wedding planner on. And then I discover Susan.
Ooh, Susan.
Susan. And Susan doesn't take my call initially because she thinks I'm trying to market her.
She
shared
thinks
with
you're
me before the
Google.
story. Yeah, okay, yeah. And I am a little Google. Susan Miele,
Miele.
sorry,
That's
Susan
okay.
Miele.
It's little, but no one knows it.
So Susan Miele, so first of all, on Saturday she returns my call and she moves her version of Heaven and Earth to be on our show today.
Yay.
So
Thank you.
quite welcome.
Thank you.
Susan Miele, for over 12 years, Susan has been both planning weddings and other events. She is a JP and she does wedding management.
Ooh.
She is located in the Hudson, Nashua area, but she does events all over the state. Susan, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna start by telling some of the horror stories, and I want you to come and jump in on it. Okay?
This is what you should do.
Right.
Okay. So first of all, the first horror story is, well, and I say this, and I'm hoping that the woman that created the horror story, so to speak, doesn't watch my show. But I understood after the fact that somebody had volunteered to do our wedding program. I said, oh, I've done wedding programs before. I love doing wedding programs, blah, blah, blah. Well, there was some sudden life crises in this person's life, which I didn't know about. All I knew is we're 10 days out from the wedding, and we're doing the wedding. I'll be very honest, we're doing the wedding on the cheap. Nobody's parents is paying for this wedding.
Yeah.
This wedding's coming out of our pockets. We're trying to do all of the how can we
Right.
afford the wedding when you don't have a father of the bride that lives in Beverly Hills with the,
Unlimited
Platinum
checkbook.
American Express.
There you go.
Okay? So, so we're saying, so where can we cut corners where it won't affect the experience?
Right.
So this woman said she'd do the thing. So 10 days before the wedding, in comes the wedding program. In comes our wedding program. It's typed up, single line, at a time, on a Microsoft Word document with names misspelled, no information about the pieces, nothing, no. And this woman had volunteered, had willingly volunteered. Now, I found out afterwards that a life crisis had hit. She was trying to keep her commitment. She had done, but still, for me, receiving it 10 days before my wedding, I'm going, this is not going to do it.
No, not going to do it.
No. So Jeff and I go to one of the local craft stores, and I said, okay, we're going to get nice paper.
Yep.
We're going to print it up because we had a Renaissance-themed wedding. We're going to print it up. We're going to do it in a scroll. And we
That's
had
nice.
a hand fasting cord. We had part of our
Yeah.
ceremony was hand fasting. And so I had made 185 miniature hand fasting cords from the same material I made our hand fasting cord out of.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
nice.
So everyone was supposed to go with the program so people could take home a copy of the program and a piece of the hand fasting cord
Nice.
if they wanted to keep it.
Yeah. I liked it because it felt like we were holding on to your vows with you.
Oh, thank you.
What a nice way to put, that's wonderful.
Sweet. Isn't she
Yes.
sweet? I think I'll keep her.
Yes.
I'm getting my contract renewed.
So anyways, so I'm like, so we're going to tie them up. We'll put the hand fasting cords and we'll send them up. Now, so I love my husband. Of course, he was my fiance at the time, but I loved him then too.
He's a cutie.
But yeah, he's a cutie. But he doesn't, some of this stuff is like not his ballywick.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We all have our stuff. We're not. And so he's like, okay, so we're going to go home tonight and we have like 10 days, so we can print these right out on the printer and we'll roll them. And I said, you don't think we're going to send out the program you got in the email today, right? There's no part of you that thinks that that's what's going out in the program, do you?
No, dear, of course not.
And he's like, well, we only have 10 days. We've got to hurry up and get these done. And I said, okay, I'm going to make your night a whole lot more pleasant. Listen to me. There is no way, shake your head, there is no way this is going to be our wedding program.
Yes, dear.
So I spent the next 5 or 6 hours, the next day I spent a good 6 hours, 2 wax, to create the wedding program, which I have no experience in creating.
Oh, it was perfect. They had this on this side, that on
Love
that
the
side.
web, love the web. Found some Celtic scrolly stuff to go around the border.
There was Celtic scrolly stuff.
Yep, did all of that stuff and had to show it to him. Now here's the other little part of the issue was I had written him his wedding gift, which he didn't know is I had
It's in the program.
I had written him a song that the wedding singer was singing as a surprise as his wedding gift.
So now we have to get the program past him and not let him notice.
Yeah. So he's looking through it and he goes, well, you have all of the authors of all the musical pieces except for the song the wedding singer is singing. And I said, oh, nobody puts the song down. Oh, okay.
Thank God it's on
Got
the
out of that.
Okay.
Then blessings be his mother and sister because they knew what I was doing. So he goes to work the next morning and I have control over my schedule. I've had my own business for 27 years. I add my name in, print them all out, hand them to them. They take them home, they roll them all up, tie them off. And they come back and he can't see them now until
'Cause now they're
after
all
the
rolled
wedding.
up.
Because now they're all rolled up.
Surprise.
So if somebody like me wants to do wedding programs on the cheap, and that's what it is, it's on the cheap, I'm
You
trying
would
to
do
figure
exactly what you did. You really
Go
would.
look up little scrolly
Yeah.
things.
I mean, years ago, there was hardly any information about weddings, and now you can just drown in information about weddings.
That's
You
the
can
other
go on and
problem.
but the other good part is you can be as creative as you want and just pick out what you like. And the more you do that and the more you stay with that, you can save money, and it's all about you. You stay on, that's what the wedding really is. It's an experience of drawing in your audience to your relationship. And so when you're, using a Celtic theme, and that's talking all about you and all about your relationship. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that try to help out with a wedding, and they don't really understand like what the deadlines are and what they have to do beforehand. So they have good intentions, but they don't have experience. So sometimes you have to, if you want to accept the favor, almost spoon feed the person.
Right.
This is what we want in there, and we'd like it to have a Celtic theme, and see what they bring back to you. And hopefully, if they give it to you in an electronic format, you can kind of, make it be what you want. But yeah, you kind of have to.
The intention is great. It's the
Yes.
results that you have to try to
Yes.
work
And the other
with
piece
and-
is like they have to know, if you can't do it, say uncle. It's okay,
It's
we'll
much
understand.
rather- yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
And, and that was one of the places where, and I love this woman, and she gave us this great wedding gift, and, and she's been a member, like a member of Jeff's family his whole life. And afterwards, I got the story of like her life getting kidnapped, so to speak.
Yeah, and it
I
happens.
understood, and that happens, but almost it would have been, tell me your life got kidnapped.
Right.
Yeah, really, don't
Because I
surprise
get-
me with a result I can't use 10 days before. I think I was at least 10 days. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Well, because luckily, because, I had the Web of Light Expo.
Just beforehand.
Just before, September 30th, October 1st, I threw a huge two-day expo up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, a metaphysical alternative health and wellness expo, and went from that into 15 days, up to the 15th, of nonstop seeing my clients, taking care of my business, taping my TV shows, doing everything I needed to do. So starting on the 15th, from the 15th to the 28th, I only had one day that I had a 3-hour commitment, and everything else I had set aside for wedding time. Most people don't have that ability.
Absolutely.
Right, which is definitely where your expertise comes in.
Yes,
Yeah.
They're doing it at night, they're doing it on weekends, and they're farming out, things to their mothers, aunts, whoever they have that they can give a job to.
The cat is rolling things.
But, right, everything, everybody, all hands on deck,
All-
and you
including
get that
paws.
more emergency feeling the closer you get. They call it thrashing. The closer you get
Thrashing,
to the
yes.
wedding date, you're like, you know
Oh
what,
my
forget it, we don't need that,
Well,
and
that
that's
was the
when
seating
you.
arrangements. That's the one you
Oh,
did
oh,
notice. That was I took a picture of that sign.
Did you take a picture of that sign? I'm trying to see. I think somebody else took a picture of the sign, and I'm trying to see if I can actually find it.
I'm
'cause
sorry, I don't have my phone with me. There,
I
you
wanna-
walked into the reception hall,
Yeah.
and I remember that his fiance, now husband, posted, my God, working on the seating arrangements. And I'm thinking to myself, they're doing seating arrangements for this? Oh my God, I had just found out my husband probably wasn't going to be able to make it. I'm like, I better tell them because they'll seat him, and then there'll be a
Right.
space. I'm like, so I let him know. Well, we get to the reception hall, and there's this wonderful sign.
Yeah. So I
frame.
created this. I created this sign 3 days before 2 days before the wedding, and part of the reason that I created it was because literally, and I'm not going to have a copy of it.
about
I'm going to have
thrashing
to.
and
I'm
pulling
going to
hair
have to
out.
go the thrashing, because I kept on having people. So we invited 325 people to our wedding.
Oh, wow.
And
That's huge.
We
Cross country, a couple of out of countryers even, so.
Yep, we
you know,
invited people from 3 different countries and from Alaska and Hawaii and the West Coast all the way over.
That's wonderful.
Because I've done a lot of
Really.
traveling.
Yeah.
Lived a lot, not just traveling, you've lived in a lot of different places.
Yeah, because I've lived in Seattle and I've lived in Phoenix
Yeah.
and stuff like this. Well, we decided to do Facebook invitations. Now, if somebody told you as a wedding planner that they were going to do the invitations through Facebook, what would you?
Oh, she's starting to twitch
Yeah,
already.
yeah,
I
it's
saw the
making me
twitch.
afraid
She was just like,
because you don't have it in writing. People change their mind. They don't tell you. A lot of people don't use Facebook for that, so they're not going to be looking for that. They don't answer. They think they're going to get back to it. They see the event. Oh yeah, I'm interested, and keep on going. You need
Oh
an
my
answer.
gosh.
You need a final count. There's a lot of people that think RSVP means I'll only tell you if I'm not coming. No, we need to know whether or not you're coming, who you're bringing with you. If you have any food allergies, we need to know all these things.
Yeah,
you
we
know, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Little different, little.
we had a wedding planning party meeting that started in, the first one we had was in, it was January of 2017, and the wedding was, so 10 months later.
Yeah.
And we had
Plenty of
like 8 or 10 people, my sister, we would actually Zoom his sister in from France.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow.
So she'd be on our big TV.
Sister headroom.
Yeah, both his parents were there. My parents have retired to Florida, and they just were not of a good enough age or health to make the trip back, so they weren't involved. We had people, and some of those people shifted and changed along the way.
Yeah.
And some of what people committed to do shifted and changed it along the way. But we were like, okay, we've got every meeting. We were moving stuff ahead. We were moving stuff ahead. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is.
Little engine that could.
Feels like you're good. Yeah.
You think?
Well,
That false
and
sense of
then-
security. Yeah.
Facebook invitations would never ever do it again.
Yeah.
No.
No, because
Even email's better.
we had
Right.
at least a third of the people that never responded,
Yeah.
and then we had people that responded, and then didn't shift their response, and other people shifted their response and then did the opposite of what they shifted it to. We couldn't, it was a nightmare. We figured, the count was going up and down. So at one point, we were at 178, and then we were down to 146. This is all 10 days before the wedding. People are still, I'm having like 5 days before the wedding, people going, oh, well, is it too late for the 4 of us to come? Oh, well, the 4 of us aren't coming because of this. I mean, I was like, okay, well, those numbers, at least they evened.
That's why if it's in writing, they're committed. They know, oh, I can't change my mind now, I already sent it.
Yeah.
And that's, it stops that.
A little, at least.
A little, yeah.
I mean, I definitely
At least
still
they have
had
to call
no-shows.
you and make contact. They can't
That's true.
just do it on Facebook, yeah.
So here's the other question I have for you as a wedding planner is, because when I was going to weddings in my late teens, my early 20s, growing up, going to weddings and stuff like this, when you got an invitation to the family wedding and you got it months ahead of time, you took the day off, you made arrangements, you did stuff. That's what you did.
Right.
You showed up for family weddings.
Yeah.
That's what you did. I could not believe the number of people that their response was, well, when it gets close enough to see if I have the day off, I'll tell you whether I'm coming or not.
Huh?
Yeah, it's,
Do you find that it's a different
Yes.
energy? 'Cause
some of that is just the times we live in. Things are so
Well,
fast,
yeah.
they're working two jobs, or you're going to school, but it's a wedding. It isn't a birthday party, it's a wedding. So you know it's gonna be huge, and you know that being invited there, they're paying a lot of money for your meal. It's about $100 a person, if not more, to serve. So you have
This is
to respect that.
Once in a lifetime, as you said, a birthday
Absolutely.
party.
Yeah, we'll see you
maybe-
next year, probably.
Knock on wood.
Right.
But, when you have these sort of once in a lifetime, it goes on the calendar, it gets
Right.
made allowances for, and
No,
no.
no. I mean, I understand it. I understand, like, one of my favorite Hollywood stories is that when Judy Garland called Liza Minnelli and said, aren't you coming to my wedding? She goes, no, I'll be at your next wedding, Mama.
Oh, no.
But that was Judy's 4th wedding,
Yeah,
so,
that's
and Judy did have a 5th before she died, so,
Like mother, like daughter, but yes,
so it's Judy.
Did you ever send out save the dates before the invitation?
No, because we did,
Oh,
we invited everybody to the wedding group saying, this is the date of the wedding.
right.
Okay.
So I asked Jeff to marry me in August
Last year.
The
of
year before.
the year before.
Okay.
We selected the date based on the fact that he wanted a fall wedding,
Yeah.
outdoors, and his sister needed to be there. So
Well, that
kind
really
of limited our,
yeah.
Yeah.
our choices.
There was the window.
And it needed to be Renaissance themed.
That's kind of good. You need to make those.
You do need
you
to
do.
make those kind of,
Yeah.
these are the non-negotiables.
We had
Right.
4 potential dates. I sent him to my two different astrologers
Yeah.
that I work with. I mean, I do astrology, but I won't do astrology on my own wedding date.
Right,
That's like
yeah.
a surgeon, operating on himself.
You can't
So
do your own choice.
both
Stars,
of my
apparently.
Right.
So one of my astrologers was my astrologer on my radio show for years, because I've had a radio show for like 12 years now. And then one is my astrologer that I use on my TV show, because the other one lives in Atlanta and she's not going to come up for my show.
Right.
So I have 2 different astrologers. They both agreed on the same date and the same time without talking to each other.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That
so
kind of, that's a
that
good
wipes that out,
karma.
right.
Good sign, good.
There you go. Got the date, got the time, put it out. So we put out the save the date at least 12, if not 13 months early. That here's the wedding group, here's the
that's
That
date.
is what you should do, especially when you had people coming from all over.
Yep.
They need
Exactly.
to make travel arrangements and,
Yep.
yeah, that's
Yep.
very important to do, yeah.
So I created the sign. I can't find the actual sign in my pictures. I know that I have it somewhere.
It's hysterical.
But it basically said, that based on the fact of
It
this
basically
kept
said,
on-
hear ye, hear,
Indeed.
given that, our numbers has changeth several times. And nobody, and given that we were pulling our hair out and given that sitteth wherever you want.
I like that. It's a little soft, but
It's just a little like, you know what? We have
Yeah.
better things to be worrying about. Don't sit next to the people you don't like.
right.
So we're now 5 days out from the wedding. And so and I want to know if this has ever happened to you. So a year in advance, we reserved Cathedral of the Pines, which is where we had our wedding, which is a truly beautiful spot. Year in advance, we reserve the Jaffrey VFW, which is 2 miles down the road. So it's really easy. We're doing a potluck. Now here's again, this is where we cheaped out. We
Yeah.
were like, everybody, if you bring
That's
one
very
thing
common.
and share.
That's not.
It's growing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bring something to share.
Right.
Just tell us what it is. We had somebody that was coordinating what everybody was bringing. So somebody said,
Yeah.
what do you need? Here's what it is.
Right.
We ended up with a ton of food. I mean, we
Oh,
threw
yeah.
out so much food,
That was
Yeah.
a lot of
which I hate throwing out food. We donated some of it to the VFW. They actually ate
Oh,
off us
good.
off our wedding for the
Excellent.
next couple of days.
Good.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that do that.
Yeah, and that's
yes,
good.
Yes.
Yeah. So before the 5 days out, 6 days out, we'd already realized that both the VFW and the Cathedral of the Pines had gotten rid of the people that had rented the place. But in the Cathedral of the Pines, the person that took over, we'd already communicated with, and we were still all set. Everything's moving forward. I had paid 100% in May for the location. On the VFW, the woman that had started the process never finished it, and in the case of the Cathedral of the Pines, when we signed the contract, their copy machine wasn't working, so they never gave us a copy of the contract.
Uh-oh.
You see where this is going.
Yes,
She's
I
like,
do.
yeah, I'm already
Yeah,
nervous.
that's already, yep.
I'm already
So-
reading the Mylanta.
So we find
the
out
Pepto.
a week and a half before at the VFW, well, you can't have access to the kitchen unless you pay for it. So you have no electricity, no this, no that. And I'm like, you're renting, and this newly renovated, updated, great place. Also, we found it has no sound system in order to plug in the music. And then
Somebody didn't think something through when they renovated, that's
Right.
for sure.
then we rent the kitchen for an additional $175 on what we were already paying, so we'd have access to the kitchen.
Yeah.
I get it, it's a VFW. But I do want to say, my father was a vet for World War II and Korea. He has discharge papers from both, from the government, completely solid, completely solidified. I could have saved $100 because he was a vet.
Oh.
That's right.
But they required a specific form and would not take his discharge papers from the government, and the form was going to cost me $100 to get. But there's a specific form, and they would only take that. So,
DD 214.
yeah.
Oh my gosh,
And-
she knew what it was.
Back in World War II, that's not what they issued. My father never had any reason to get a DDT 214.
DD 214, yep.
Okay, but he has his honorable discharge from World War II, his honorable discharge from Korea. I have
One
all
would
of that
think-
stuff. They can't take that. I have to go get a form, which is going to cost me, well, I think it was maybe 75, but I was only going to
But-
save
and-
100.
That may be because the person was new and they were afraid to say, you know what, I'll accept that. But it's like, that's when.
I mean, you'd think just, obvious, discharge from this, discharge from this.
Right.
That should hold
Right.
up.
Now, have you ever booked a wedding at a VFW before?
No, well, I've done, no, I haven't done VFW halls, no. I've
But
done
you knew
other
the-
halls, though, and most places don't want you to bring your own food. So it's hard to get a place that has a kitchen that will let you do that. Brookline Event Center does that, and there's a couple others, but mostly they want you to use their caterers.
caterers,
Or
right.
they have a place that serves food themselves, so that was still good to go there, yeah.
Yeah, because that's where
Of
they make
course
their
it
bucks.
was, absolutely.
We couldn't bring any alcohol.
No,
they-
they had a bar there
They
that,
had a cash bar.
Right.
yeah.
They said as long as you spend $200, then you get your deposit back. I had to put a $200 deposit, which I thought, and I
There's
could-
liabilities too attached to
Yeah.
each thing. It's the
Right.
food thing, they don't want someone getting sick, and same thing with, if you're serving your friends, you may not say, stop. You may keep on, maybe
Dude,
you
here,
have
keep
a
hitting it.
bartender that's, and
Yeah.
that's kind of good for you too, it protects you. So let them do it.
And I
Yeah.
didn't really have a problem with that. I mean, my first question when she said, $200, I said, is that an hour? And she goes, no, for the whole thing. I said, oh yeah, we don't have a
We're
problem.
covered.
Yeah, we're covered.
Right, it's always good to ask.
It is good to
As
ask.
soon as you say the W word, everything goes up. It's a wedding, oh wait,
A wedding,
now it's way higher,
yes.
yeah.
Wedding, yeah, you
Right.
don't tell them what it is. Sometimes I wish you could, you can't, but you kind of wish
Right.
you could skip over telling them.
How much do you negotiate when you are a wedding planner? as a wedding planner? Do you
All the
do you have
time.
the ability to negotiate?
Very
Yes, I try not to enter into the contract with the vendor myself. I'll help do the research, and I bring the couple to vendors, and I'll give them 3 or 4 people to check out, depending on, what their budget is and what they want. But I don't enter it because it's a liability to me. If that vendor doesn't produce, or something, falls away,
Oh, yeah.
I don't want them to say, well, you told me that person, or you hired that person. So I let that final thing be up to the couple. But if something happens and a vendor does fail, they're going to look to me to fix it. The vendor's not
Right.
here, or my flowers are all dead, what's going to happen? And that's one of my main questions to every vendor. What are you going to do if you can't come, you can't produce? Like, I'm a member of the New Hampshire Justice of the Peace Association, so if something, God forbid, happens to me on the way to a wedding, I have a list of people that I can call that will show up. Those people have, the ceremony script and everything. They have all access to that. And we all adhere to the same strict standards of conduct. So you have someone that's going to fill in for you so that your wedding will go forward.
That's a good thing to know,
Yes.
and an important benefit, to have somebody who can come in and say, look, this is the backup.
Right, yeah.
So, so we're now dealing 5-6 days before the wedding. They also had no coffee urns we could use. We
Oh, I
couldn't-
saw that message on Facebook.
We rented a $175 kitchen, but we couldn't use their coffee urn. We couldn't bring coffee, make coffee in their
There's
coffee urn.
places that you rent the hall, you rent the table, they have no tablecloth.
No
That's an
tablecloth.
Oh, we
That
had
one
to
I
pay
put-
extra
There's no
if we wanted
silverware,
those.
there's
Yep.
no
We did pay extra.
flatware. It's
Yep.
unbelievable, if
The
you don't know
one
to ask for
piece
that.
I've had places where I've had to rent chairs.
Oh, yes,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh, did you really? And then they don't tell you that necessarily up front. I'm like, did you really think I didn't need them? I
Right.
mean, why didn't you think to?
Yeah.
Right. And then the chair covers, and they can just keep on adding
Oh
and
my
adding and
gosh,
adding.
incredible.
You
It
gotta
gets-
watch
yep.
out.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons why you might need a wedding planner.
She will think of the things
The
you
other
haven't
thing is,
thought
like,
of.
if you pick your venue and you're smart about the venue, like you're saying the Cathedral of the Pines, when you go there, the place is gorgeous.
Yes.
You don't have to decorate a whole bunch of things.
Yep.
And the same thing with your hall. When you go in, you want to kind of pick a place that has some kind of ambiance to it. That way you don't have to bring all of it,
With you.
That's
Yeah.
another cost, is all your decorations. And if you
Yeah.
do have to, use big flowers, and reuse the things from your ceremony and bring them over to where you're having your reception.
Yep.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Absolutely.
And that's what a lot of people
And
do
you guys
now.
just let that be fall. That was sort of the theme. The
Right,
colors.
it's
and so it was
beautiful. You don't have
lovely.
to do a thing in New England.
Yep. So, so we're now like 5 days out from the wedding. I'm cleared up the last of my schedule. It's, I had that tiny little event, but for the last few days, I've been all wedding, like, Jeff would go to work, he'd come home, this was the fire, this is how I put it out, this was the fire, this is how, I'm not even gonna tell you about that fire, you don't get upset. Like, I'm doing this, yeah, coming, not
I'm
coming.
just standing
yeah,
here
blah,
with the
blah.
extinguisher ready to go at a moment's notice.
I go to listen to the wedding singer for the first time, and friends of mine, and they had taken the music I had written and had it professionally done for me on a CD for background that he was going to sing to it. So it was fully orchestrated.
Yeah, it was. It was lovely.
strings and
Yeah.
piano and all stuff.
Beautiful.
And he's singing it, and he goes and he sings it for me, and he did a great job. And I won't take that away from him. But the process of getting my song ready and all of this stuff came so close to the wedding that when he sang the first verse, the refrain, and then the first verse and the refrain, because he didn't get the second verse memorized in time to sing it. But I was like, okay, you know what? It's 5 days out. You're singing it. It sounds good.
Right.
I'm
That's
going to
what
have the
counts.
CD afterwards. That's okay, because I'll go into the studio with the 3 verses I wrote, and I'll sing it, and I'll create a CD for
Right.
for Jeff.
Definitely.
It's okay.
The gift is there.
The gift is there.
It really is. It's-
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's very true.
yeah.
And then, but I go in, and these are old friends of mine, and I'm thrilled. I'm so excited that they went and they did this, and they've gone the extra mile, and they helped me compose and do all the stuff, because I'm not a musician, and they both have a musical background. I go in, and they said, we have a question for you, but you need to, promise you're not going to get upset.
Don't you love it when
That's-
people introduce things like that? Promise me you won't get upset. Not until you tell me
Immediately
what.
can't breathe, right.
I'm not promising this in advance, people.
And I'm like, okay. Well, I called Cathedral of the Pines this morning to find out about their sound system because I'm going to go sing. And the guy talked to her, was very nice, and I said I was going to sing at a wedding this Saturday. And he goes, oh, we don't have a wedding scheduled this Saturday. And he goes, well, I'm pretty sure. He goes, are you sure it's at Cathedral of the Pines? Yep, I'm pretty sure. This Saturday the 20th? Yep, no, we have no wedding on the books. We have no setup. I haven't been asked to work. There's no wedding here this Saturday. And the guy says, are you sure? And he goes, well, the girls are not in the office today, but they'll be back tomorrow. So somebody can call tomorrow and find out. But as far as I know, there's no wedding scheduled. This, I'm being told, at 2 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon of the wedding.
Oh, wow.
The wedding is Saturday.
That's
Tuesday.
something where they should have
Saturday.
called the ladies at home. We have a big, you know.
Yeah. It took me from Tuesday afternoon until Thursday at 2 o'clock to get a confirmation that there was a
48
wedding.
hours?
Yes,
Oh my God.
because
Yeah.
Oh my
wow.
God.
48 hours of warm climates.
Wow.
Fiery, warm climate.
Fiery warm climates.
Yeah.
What do you do when the and we finally figured they lost the contract. They let go of the girl that had done it. I had to produce emails. They had to. I had to produce that I had paid for it because
Thank
they
God
were
you
like,
kept
well,
all
you
of
know,
that.
you know, I had to do all that. And the woman that was taking care of it sent me the email saying that they could find no evidence of me paying. They could find no evidence being booked or anything. At 4:50 in the afternoon on Wednesday, after I'd left a message on Tuesday about it, which means by the time I called back, they were closed for the day because they close at 5. So I got the email at 4. So I couldn't
somebody
even
shoot me.
talk to them until Thursday. I'm like, this is somebody's wedding.
Yeah, it's very unacceptable, really. And, you know,
You know, and they,
Yeah.
most vendors, I have to say, in the wedding profession, they know that you're freaking out and they're going to get you an answer. And if they can't do it or something happens, they don't just leave you. You know, most of the time, if they're good and they're in the business, we understand
Yeah.
this is only going to happen once.
And it's not like the
and it's produced. And, you know, if your venue falls through, it would be everybody, you know, on deck calling around trying to find somebody, and they would fit you in. And not for anything, they should have said, you know what, we don't have a wedding on Saturday, so you're for sure in. But
Yeah,
now let's,
really.
you know, deal with where's the contract and all. But don't you worry, your wedding's going forward. You don't
Right, as
keep
long as
telling
they had
the
another
people
wedding
no.
scheduled,
Right,
thank
right.
God.
I mean,
Well-
calm first, you know,
Tom the bridezilla.
breathe, right.
Thursday morning, when I say the fires went on, and we're going to cut the fires short, this is the last one. There was a ton more. The fires went on until 9:45, and I walked down the aisle at 10. At 9:45, things were still coming to me to take care of, which is why, not that I will ever get married again, I would never do it without a point person that was
Yes.
going to, because they kept on all coming to me.
To you,
Right.
yeah, you need like a buddy or something.
You need somebody to run interference. Your day
Which
should
is-
not be that. You should be able to wake
Yes.
up and
Be
just
beautiful.
relax and just be in that frame. And, you know, no, it's
Yeah.
the whole day is supposed to be wonderful. And you don't need to know that somebody forgot their belt and, you know, they don't know where the marriage license is. That's my famous one. It's on the kitchen table. And, you know, all those little things need to be.
The ushers haven't showed up. People are seating
Yes.
themselves with
Yes.
one of them.
Oh, we did
Yes.
consider
Stuff like this. So I did at 10 o'clock in the morning. I did talk to the guy that had talked to my friend on Tuesday, and I said, and he said he tried to do the thing, and he goes, so it's on Saturday, yeah? And he said, okay. He goes, well, we have a memorial service in the morning, so can you just move your wedding to 1, and then we'll have no problem. I'm like, I have 175 people showing up between 9 and 9:30 at your parking lot. No, I cannot move it to 1 o'clock.
The dead person can move.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm sorry. I know that was insensitive, people. Don't.
But they're not going to know. And that, you know.
The memorial service can be moved.
And then the guy put me on hold, He put me on hold, and he said, let me check the schedule and get back. And he said, no, the memorial service is at 1. The morning wedding is fine. I'm sorry, I confused it. And I said,
Confused, you gave me.
The other thing is you don't talk to those people, like he shouldn't have been bringing that to you. If you have,
Yes.
wedding coordinator or management person, that's why 60 days out is when I normally take the reins and go. That way, they're not gonna come to you, they're not gonna bring all that to you, and I'm gonna, investigate every kind of solution before I bring it to you as a problem.
That's
Or
good.
I'll
And
say,
I like that idea of
here's
you're
your
coming in not
choices.
necessarily for a year's worth of work, but the
Right.
last 60 days when it's really down to the
When
wire, where
crunch
you
time.
really need the help, where you
Yeah.
really need the guidance and the interference.
And everything
the-
changes from when you first plan to when you actually do it.
yeah.
If you go look at
Other
your
than the
notes, you'd be
groom.
like, oh yeah, maybe we were gonna this, that's right.
Yeah, the two people involved didn't change. Everything else
Right.
kind of.
Well, I mean, my now mother-in-law did suggest that she thought it might be nice if I was dropped from a plane onto the back of a horse riding in, but we let that idea go for.
Dun,
If you
dun,
look on
dun.
YouTube, there's been the bride that came in on a swing, and there was a guy who jumped out of a plane, and
All I had
mean,
to
it's
say to
like-
her was, I'm wearing a kilt, right? Speaking of which, can we show a few of
that's
the
some
pictures?
Yay.
So let me tell you a little bit about these pictures. The first picture, that is Jeff's dad
With the sword.
with a sword, making sure I
love
don't run
that.
away.
that
And when Jeff's parents got married, there was a picture in their wedding album of Jeff's mother's father with a shotgun, making sure he didn't. So we created this. Now, these pictures are all by Maya Papaya Pictures.
Oh, what a great name.
Yes.
Maya Papaya.
And Maya actually is somebody I've known for years. She's an old friend of mine. She flew in from Phoenix. She's also a professional photographer, because I always feel like somebody who knows you and loves you
Is
is
gonna
going to be a
get the-
better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that picture. These are our leaf girls.
They were so cute. They were so cute. And one of them kept picking up the leaves that she dropped that were around her and kept tossing them throughout the ceremony. Ethan kept watching her reload.
One is my niece Bella in the yellow, and the other is Jeff's niece. And so we decided instead of flower girls, Elena, I'm sorry, niece Elena, and that we were going to do leaf. So they're getting save money because we just
Right.
went out and grabbed leaves.
They were so sweet.
Here is the woman who is our minister. That is my clan tartan.
I was going to say, you have to mention the kilt because you've mentioned the process.
Yes.
But yes.
Yep. So that's the kilt, which Friday I went to see the kilt maker, and she had to take in 2 more notches because the first
He'd
time I
been
got
working
measured
out.
for the kilt
Yeah.
was in July, and between July and the day of the wedding, I lost 13 inches on my waist.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and those boots were custom made for me at a Ren Fair years ago in Esporin. Kim was our officiant. She's an old friend of mine, and her and Jeff have become very close since Jeff and I have been a couple. We chose her, and we actually told her we did not want to hear the wedding vows.
Yes.
We wanted to experience them.
Oh, yeah, that makes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It moves you into the moment. That's nice. Right?
Yeah.
it does. You're not
Yeah.
like, oh, he forgot a line.
You know, you're not just waiting until those words are done. You're in there.
You are.
Yeah.
And then
That was
here,
their
Oh, that's
altar.
beautiful.
we had the altar, which represented all of the different spiritualities, and that was our family unity sand candle. So the
Excellent.
night of the rehearsal dinner, we started by putting actually my father's ashes on the first layer,
Isn't that great?
and
I
then
love
everybody
this.
else
Explain
had
this.
sand colors. And then the black, which you can see really clearly, has gold and black silver glitter in it. And it represented the ancestors, all the people that have gone before us.
That's
So
beautiful.
they were like
I've
in the-
never
Spirit.
heard
So
that.
it's
That's
sort of
wonderful.
anchored by spirit and on both sides.
And then this is before the ceremony, because after the ceremony, you'll see that you would see it. Jeff and I put in our 2 sand colors as part of the ceremony to create the unity. All of those things on there came out of our house.
Well, it's
These
funny
are
'cause when I
literally
first-
on our altar.
When I first saw them, I'm like, oh, I think Kevin has one of. Oh, and that one. Yeah. Okay, these weren't here because it's so natural looking that they look like they belong there
Right,
on that altar.
right.
And then when they started to look familiar, I'm like, oh, I think you brought these. Never mind.
There's our hand fasting cord. And then the last picture,
No.
and there we go.
We just went to the romance of it.
So there we go.
It was
So,
beautiful. It was a perfect day. And I don't know if you've ever been to the Cathedral of the Pines, but the way it's laid out, it's wind tunnely and stuff because of some of the buildings. So up by where we came in, it was really windy. And then when you move towards where the ceremony was, it was
Nice and peaceful. Yeah, it is. It's unreal. Yeah.
so beautiful.
Beautiful.
And you could see out. And I mean, everybody lingered afterwards to take pictures. And
Yes.
so Susan, we've only got I'm like a minute left. We like some of the definitely input. What would be three things you'd say to a couple that have just decided to get married, as somebody who's been doing wedding planning for over a dozen years?
I'd say pick a budget and stay as close to that as possible,
That's
just so
a really-
one person's not, ordering Cadillacs and Lincolns and the other one's, doing their own shopping. So do that first.
So the
Pick
ones
a
in the
venue.
Hyundai aisle.
Exactly. Pick a venue, because a lot of your the other vendors are going to want to know how many people are there and how many rooms, how big is it. So all of those decisions are going to be based on that. And the third one is really just at the end of the day, as long as you're married to the person that you love, who, come on, it's one day, it's a party, relax.
It is a good point.
Yeah, it really is. It's like all that matters is I love you, and the rest we can deal with,
that's all that matters is I love
And
you.
the name of your company again is
New Hampshire Weddings by Susan.
New Hampshire Weddings by Susan. Susan, you have been most flexible. You've been most knowledgeable.
Thank you for coming to our
Thank you for
venue.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
for coming to our
this was
venue. And as we close, one of her suggestions were to set a venue, to set a budget first, set a venue, and then
End up with the person you started with.
end up with
Right.
the person you started with.
Right. Don't hurt each other through the
At
process.
the very first wedding planning party meeting, this is how I started it. I said to everybody sitting there, I thanked them for coming, and I said, I want you to know a couple of things. One is, we have no money. We have no time. Anything you suggest, you have to figure out how to fund, and how is it going to get done. Outside of that, the only
We're good
thing,
to go.
the only thing that
like
you
that.
people need to know at this wedding party planning meeting is that this wedding is for Jeff. Whatever he wants, he gets. He has the final word. I'm here to make sure he gets the wedding he's been dreaming of.
And did he?
That's
he did.
wonderful.
There you
See,
go.
that's all that matters.
Namaste.